Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today we're finally doing the highly requested video that everyone's been asking about, and literally took us 2 years to actually sit down and film this video. But we're gonna be doing Ivy's birth story, and this is something we've been wanting to do, but we just like keep putting it off, and people keep asking us and we keep mentioning it, but we just never film it. So tonight we're finally sitting down, and it's gonna be a long video. It's gonna be unedited, and it's gonna be just straight through. We really wanted to do this video more for Ivy, so whenever he's older, he can look back and watch this video, so we don't have to explain. Because I'm sure we're gonna forget little details here and there, and he's gonna wonder.
Sorry, he was so rude.
He's gonna wonder about his birth story, and it's gonna be a long story to tell. So we have this video to show him. So, hello Ivy, hello future Ivy. Right now you're 2 years old, I'm 22 years old.
I'm 20 years old.
And we're also having your baby sister on the way. We don't know yet. Baby sister, baby brother on the way. She is currently, how many weeks? 18?
18 weeks.
18 weeks. And we still don't know the gender yet. But, so this video is for you. We're dedicating this video to you. This is your birth story, and it's a very special one because the story is very different, very rare, unexpected. Let's just start off by saying that you obviously weren't planned, but you were in God's plans to be in our life, and we were truly blessed to have you. We did not know we were pregnant with you. We literally found out about you when Larissa was going into labor. You literally came into our lives when we found out about you. You were full term, ready to be born. You were healthy, you were big, you were ready just to come out, and we did not have anything. We didn't have a crib, we didn't have any clothes, we didn't have Pampers, we didn't have nothing at all. Like we didn't know. We didn't know about.
We became parents overnight.
Yeah, we literally became parents overnight, and I'm gonna let Larissa tell the story because I wasn't a part of the first like 6 hours of this story. I was in bed asleep.
So like around 1 o'clock, I got up, I woke your dad up, and I told him my back was hurting and I didn't feel good. And he was like, it's okay, just, you know, don't worry about it, just go back to sleep. And me, on the other hand, I could not go back to sleep. I was so uncomfortable. I couldn't get in like a comfortable position. So I went into the living room and I sat on the recliner, and I was just there in pain. I didn't know what to do. I was on the verge of crying because it was that bad, and I could not take the pain. So I went and told my aunt and uncle if they could take me to the hospital because I was having really bad back pain. And I went and told Baldemar that I was leaving to the hospital. Mind you, your dad was knocked out. Like, he barely woke up to tell me bye. He was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Text me when you get there.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting on the end of the bed crying, and he was like, it's okay. It's
well,
okay.
I didn't know it was a baby.
And I was like, oh my god. So I was like, okay. And mind you, my phone was off, so I could only text within Wi-Fi. And so either way, I couldn't really get a hold of him if I wasn't in Wi-Fi. So I got to the hospital. They took urine, they took blood, they got my weight, everything like that. And they put me in a room around 2 to 3 in the morning, and they didn't see me until 7:30, almost 8 o'clock in the morning. So I was in pain the whole entire time. I was crying. I didn't know what was wrong. I was freaking out. But thank God I had my aunt and uncle there with me, you know, calm me down and tell me, you know, everything was gonna be okay, and that, you know, someone would be in soon. So finally the shift changed, and the new doctor came in, and they said okay. They asked my aunt and uncle to step out of the room, and they told me that I was pregnant, and I was just like, okay. And I was like, okay, like, you know, how many months? And he was like, oh no, you're full-term labor. You're gonna have this baby today. And I was like, what? So they called my aunt in and they told her, you know, that I was pregnant, and she was in shock just like I was. And she started crying, and she goes out to the hallway and tells my uncle, because I did not want to tell him. I was so scared. I was like, what is he gonna say? Is he gonna be mad at me? And so she went out and she told him. The ambulance got there really quick, but I mean, maybe they had called them before they came in to tell me, because right after she went out to tell him that they were coming in with a gurney, you know, transfer me to that, from the hospital bed to that bed so I could go in the ambulance. So my uncle drove to the hospital. They transferred me from the Mission Trails at Brooks to Baptist downtown. And when they first told me, you know, that I was pregnant, I texted your dad and I told him I'm pregnant. I said, you need to come to the hospital. And I was just blowing up his phone. I don't even remember everything exactly that I told him. I was just blowing up his phone. And then I went into the ambulance, and if he texted me, I couldn't get it. So I told my aunt, you need to call Baldemar, you need to tell him what's going on. So she went, you know, she called him, and, or you called her?
She called me. And I got a call from her tia. It was maybe like, I want to say 7:30, around 7:30 to 8. And she was like, did Larissa tell you? And I was like, yeah, she's pregnant. I was like, and in my head I was like, oh, okay, yeah, she's pregnant, like, you know, a few weeks. And then she was like, well, congratulations, you're gonna be a dad. And I was like, okay. I was like, thanks. And she's like, oh, you're gonna be a dad today. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, the baby's coming today. And I was like, what? And she was like, you're gonna be a dad today. And I was just speechless. I was just like, what? I was like, because I have never heard of anything like that. I mean, only from the TV shows. I didn't know I was pregnant. Like, it was just crazy that it was happening to me. And I was just like, she's like, well, we're going to the Baptist hospital downtown. If you can meet us there. And I was like, well, yeah, of course. And I was like, so I got dressed, and I remember I was leaving the house, and I was like, I need to call my family. I still hadn't told them, and I was like, so I pulled over to this taco place by our house, and then I called my dad, and I was like, hey, where's mama? And he was like, oh, I already left for work. I'm driving to work. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, why, what's going on? I was like, oh, nothing. I was like, I just want to see what, I just want to see what she was doing. And he was like, oh, okay. So I was so nervous. I mean, I didn't want to tell him, because I always tell my mom everything. So I really wanted to tell my mom first and then tell him. So then I called my mom's phone, and her phone was turned off. And so then I couldn't get a hold of her, and I was like, okay. I was like, I can't get a hold of my mom any other way, because she was home by herself. So then I called my sister, Mercedes, and I was like, hey. And she's like, what's up? And I was like, Larissa's going to the hospital. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I was like, we're having a baby. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, the baby's coming today. And then she was like, oh my god. And like, you can tell she was happy, and like, you know, like her voice was cracking, like she was just excited, and like you can hear her getting teary-eyed about it and emotional. So I was emotional too. I was crying, and she was crying. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, the baby's coming today. I was like, we're going downtown right now. She's like, okay, well, I'll be right there. And I was like, okay. So then I called my sister, Roxanne. Hey, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm taking Nia to school. Which is my niece. I was like, oh. I was like, well, Larissa's going to the hospital. And she was like, why? And I was like, we're having a baby. And I can hear my niece in the background. She's like, what? She's like, you're having a baby? I was like, and my sister's like, what? And I was like, yeah, like the baby's coming today. I was like, we're going to the hospital right now. And I told her which one. And she's like, oh my god, well, I'll meet you there. I was like, okay. So then I was like, you know, I can't even remember telling my brother. I don't remember how I told him. I think I called him. I think I did, but I don't remember exactly that, me telling him that. So then I was like, okay, well, I obviously need to tell my parents. I still hadn't told them. So I called my dad. I was like, hey. And he was like, what? He was like, what's going on? I was like, Well, Larissa's going to the hospital and I'm meeting her there because we're having a baby. He was like, what? And I was like, everyone was just shocked. Like, everyone was just like, it was just random, it was unexpected, it was just like, okay. So then he was like, all right, well, I'm turning around, I'm gonna go home, go tell your mom, and we're gonna get ready, we'll meet you there at the hospital. I was like, okay. So I was driving to the hospital, I got there, I finally saw Larissa, and guys, this whole pregnancy, she did not have a bump. Even who saw Larissa while she was pregnant said she didn't even look pregnant. Like, my co-workers, everyone was surprised when we told them we had a baby because like you couldn't really see a bump. But whenever I saw her there at the hospital, guys, she had a bump, and I was just like, oh my god. I was like, you're really pregnant, you're really having a baby, like this is happening, it was all for real. And I was like, oh my god. And one more thing, in the parking lot, I remember texting my friends. I was like, I need everyone to call me right now. Like, all my closest friends, I had on a group message. I was like, I need everyone to call me right now, because I didn't know who was awake. So I was like, so I got my first call from my friend, and I was like, Larissa's having a baby. And I was like, we're having a baby right now. She was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And all my friends kept calling me individually. I didn't want to tell them over text. I wanted them to call me, and everyone was just like shocked and excited, and like everybody literally dropped everything and came to the hospital. Like, it was just crazy that they did that for me, and I was just like, it made me really happy and felt like I had a lot of support. My biggest concern was about the baby and being healthy. Like, I really didn't care about the fact that we were having a baby. It was just like, okay, we're having a baby, we gotta jump into it. Like, it was never a thought about, oh my god, I can't do it, I don't think I can do it. It was just like, no, like, I have to do it. So then my family started showing up, and I remember walking out of the doors and seeing my mom and dad like asking like where we were, and I was like, hey, I was like, I'm right here. And then they looked at me, and I remember them just walking towards me, and like they were just like so speechless, and my mom was crying, and it was just like crazy. It was just weird. And then so then they called my grandma. She came. This was like 10 at around noonish. Everyone started showing up. Like, everyone started getting there, my family and my close friends. And Ivy wasn't born until 8:32. So from 10 to 8, everybody waited. The whole waiting room was just full of my family and friends, and like it was so packed that everyone had to sit on some people had to sit on the floor. And I remember there was another family there from the emergency room, obviously, and they were just looking at us like, why is there so many people in this room? And I remember people had balloons, people had gifts, and like it was just crazy. Like, just to have a room full of your family and friends, and knowing that they're all excited and supportive. Like, there was not 1 ounce of negative in that day. Like, actually the first time my mom and dad met Larissa's aunt and uncle. Like, they've never met, and they were barely meeting whenever we're having our first baby. How crazy is that? And our family got to meet her family, and at that point of everything going on, we did not know the gender. We didn't know if it was a boy or girl until birth. And then at one point, it was just me and Larissa, and we were trying to figure out names for the baby. Like, that is the most pressure thing ever. Like, Larissa is like out of it. She's in shock about having a baby. Like, guys, to have a first baby, to find out the day of, and to be going to labor, that's a lot to handle. And Larissa just like was not her. Like, she was very out of it.
I was tired, I was hungry, I was in shock, I was drugged up. I had got the epidural, so I was just like,
yeah. And I'm over here trying to talk to her like about names, and I'm just like,
yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
We had so many names, but we came down to Baldemar Guerrero. And for the boy, it was obviously gonna be Baldemar, because I was a third, and if it was a boy, it's gonna be the 4th generation. So that was, it was very easy to pick a boy name. So those were our 2 options. But it was weird, like, how it all worked out. So even now we think about it like, oh my god, like, imagine if we would have had a girl named Rosalind. Like, we didn't even like that name now, and it was just so crazy because we had to pick a name at that moment. He stopped dilating at 8 centimeters. Like,
Ivy, they told me he wasn't gonna, there was no space for him to move down, so they were gonna have to do an emergency C-section. And the way they told me, it was so unprofessional. They barged in the room and they're like, okay, you need to do this, you need to drink this, and you need to do that, and you know, we're gonna do emergency C-section. He needs to get out, he's stuck. And I was like, oh my god, like
yeah.
It made me even more scared than I already was.
Yeah.
And I was telling my family, you need to go call Baldemar because he was in the waiting room. I was like, call Baldemar, call Baldemar. Like, you know, I didn't know what to do. I was just so scared the way they told me. And they had me drink this nasty purple medicine, and I ended up throwing it up. I ended up throwing it up right before I went in to do the C-section. And I was like, and can he come? Like, can he come in the room with me? And they're like, yeah, we'll come get him.
Got back to the room. They were already pushing her out of the room with the bed. And I was walking with her and they're like, oh no, you have to stay. And I was like, but I thought I was going. And they're like, no, you can't go. And I was like, okay. So then I remember just seeing her going away in her bed. And I was like, but like, I didn't know what the words to say, you know? I mean, this was all new to us. So I was like, you know, that kind of sucked to not be there.
I just saw the doors, like I was laying there and I could see the doors closed. And Baldemar was just looking like this, and he's looking like to the side, I guess, like into the waiting room. And he was just like, what do I do? And I told the lady, can he come in? Like, can you go get him? And she's like, yeah, we'll go get him in a bit. They never did.
They lied. So they had me wait in the waiting room with all my family. And I remember everybody was just asking me questions like, are you nervous? Are you excited? Or how do you feel? And in that moment, I was really like in the moment, frozen. Like, I remember I was just like, yeah. And they were like, why couldn't you go in there? I was like, I don't know. They're like, do you think it's a boy? Do you think it's a girl? And I was like, I don't know. And I was just like, they're like, what about names? So I told them. And I remember just sitting down. I was just sitting there like, this is really happening. Like, the baby's about to come. I was like, I was just so excited, like, just to see what the baby looked like, to know if the baby was healthy or not. And I remember just sitting there, and then they're like, they opened the door and they're like, Baldemar? And I was like, and everyone got quiet, and I was like, yeah. And they're like, can you step out? And I was like, okay. So then I stepped out, and it was the guy who delivered the baby, or it was the doctor who delivered Ivy. And he was like, congratulations, it's a fat boy. And I was like, a fat boy? And I'm like, yeah, he weighs 8 pounds,
8 ounces.
8 pounds and 8 ounces. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, he's 21 inches.
21 and a half.
21 inches and a half. And I was like, so it's a boy? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And then,
okay.
So then I remember opening the door and everyone was still quiet. And I was like, it's a boy. And like everybody just jumped up. Like, it was like a movie. Like, everyone jumped up and was just screaming and crying. And I remember everybody was hugging each other. And I remember everyone came out to me and they were just hugging me. And I was like, still in shock. And I was just like super happy. Like, I've never felt that kind of love. Like, literally walking into a room just full of family and friends, and everyone's just excited and supportive. And I remember I stepped back out and they're like, do you want to come meet your baby boy? And I was like, yeah. So then first they said, you can bring 2 people with you. So I was like, okay, well, my mom and her. Yeah, so I was like, okay. So then they came with me. He was laying there on the bed, and they picked up the baby and took the baby to Larissa, and she was holding the baby. I saw that when we were walking in, and I still didn't know what the baby looked like because it's all wrapped up in bundles. So I was like, oh my god. So
I was holding him?
Yeah, for a little bit. And then, see, she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember.
I was just so drugged up. The last thing I remember was being in the room and the doctor pinching my stomach repeatedly, like second after second, saying, can you feel this? Can you feel this? Can you feel this? I was like, yes, I can still feel it. And then finally, I didn't feel it, I guess, because, I mean, he cut me open. And then all I felt was like the pressure of Ivy come out, and I just heard him cry, and then I started crying, and it was like so emotional, and oh, I'm gonna cry.
And I remember grabbing the baby, and it was just so perfect. Like, he was perfect, and I was like, yeah, perfect. And so I remember my mom saw him, her tia saw him, And then my dad came in, her uncle, and everyone just kept taking turns coming in and out, in and out.
Only his reaction I remember was your dad. He was like, hey, baby. And he sees him and he's just like, I just remember his reaction. Like, I don't know why him specifically, but he's the only person I remember seeing Ivy for the first time. And he was just like so happy, his face, like I've never seen him smile the way he was smiling. And I was like, oh. And then, I don't know, I dazed back out because I don't remember anything else.
His first bath. And all of this I had recorded, I had pictures taken on my phone. But a few months after that I got a new phone and my phone didn't back up and I lost all of that, which I was so upset about. First bath, and there was this mark on his stomach and I was like, what is that? And my mom was like, oh, that's it's called a strawberry birthmark. And it's this little red birthmark on his stomach. He still has it, it's kind of going away. But it was really red when he was born. I was like, is this something you should be concerned about? And they're like, no, it's just a birthmark. I was like, okay. But other than that, it was just perfect. Like, I don't know, experience. First bath, they did his footprints, his handprints. They did.
I remember we didn't have anything for you to wear, so they
What?
they put 2 onesies on you.
They put pants on his shirt?
No, they put a onesie.
No.
They put a onesie on his feet. And they put a onesie on him like this.
They put a shirt on
There's a picture.
They put a shirt on his pants. They put a shirt as his pants.
Like
there was a hole like where his diaper was, which was weird.
It was the most hilarious thing when I saw pictures after, because your mom posted it. And he just looks so big in that picture too. And I see that picture and I laughed so hard.
He looks like the people that are in a crazy house, like in all white, that are strapped like this. My friend's sister, Monica, which I have to give a shout out, she brought a big bag of clothes, a baby boy clothes. Like, it was a huge bag. And it's because she just recently had a son before that, and it was all his baby clothes. Like, she handed all of that down to us, no charge. She didn't, for free, like out of heart and kindness. Like, I am so grateful that she did that, because that clothes lasted us for so long. And like I said, we didn't have nothing, like no clothes. People were still stopping by, just, you know, giving us gifts of clothes and stuff. I don't remember what was the first day or the second day. I went to Target with my family and we went to go look at baby clothes.
It was the second day.
Yeah, it had to be the second day.
Because the first day you just went home. You just came home to get clothes.
Yeah, the first night I went home, I showered, I got my clothes, I got Larissa some clothes. I remember I took some snacks. I brought like chips and stuff because she couldn't eat. They wouldn't let her eat. But she didn't even eat the snacks I brought, because when I got back, she was already going to sleep. With that day, I didn't have any school. My classes got canceled. Like, what are the odds my class got canceled that day? And I was off from my job, because usually I would go to school and I would work afterwards. So like, the odds of being off and then my classes being canceled, and I didn't have classes on Friday. So the only things I had to take care of was my shifts on the weekend. And I remember just posting on my Olive Garden group page saying like, guys, I just had a baby. And everyone was like, what? Like, everyone was just shocked. And I was like, I need someone to pick up my days from work. I was like, I'm gonna be here all weekend with the baby. And I remember posting the picture for the first time and everyone went crazy online. Everyone was just like, what?
They're like, when did this happen?
When did this happen? Why didn't you tell us? Why did y'all keep it a secret?
Everyone thought we kept it a secret. Like,
yeah.
They thought we just weren't saying or telling anyone.
Yeah, and like, we were just like, no, like the baby, he literally just appeared. And I was just like, people, that has to be like my most liked photo ever. Like, everyone just went crazy. Like, it was just crazy. Everyone was just like in shock.
It was a picture of him, right?
It was a picture of him. It's in black and white. He's laying in his little bed. That picture is iconic. Like, that picture was perfect. I just love that photo.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful picture. I remember nobody knew, so like.
And she didn't even post. She didn't even post about it because her phone was turned off.
Yeah.
Her first photo wasn't until like 6 days later, and it was a picture of me holding Ivy. Like, but I remember every day I kept posting a picture of him because obviously my phone was turned on and Larissa was in and out being tired, and I remember just holding him, taking pictures, and kept posting pictures of him. So the first night I stayed there, I remember sleeping on the couch, and he was good. Like, he didn't cry, he didn't, you know, he was just, I don't know, he was just good. And I was like, okay, I was like,
he was just
this
so
is
quiet.
easy.
And even when he would wake up to eat, he would fall right back asleep. And I was breastfeeding, so they would have to strip him down to his diaper, and he did not like that. Like, he was so...
Oh, I lied. That first picture of Ivy, it wasn't of just him, it was of me and him. I was feeding him his bottle. It wasn't the first photo, that was actually the second photo of him. It was just, that was just his first photo of how he looked. The photo I ever posted was of me and him, and I was feeding him his bottle because they were teaching me how to feed him. And I don't know who took the picture, but someone took the picture of me and him.
I took the picture. I was in the bed.
Oh my god. So yeah, so back to the first night, I remember I was laying there and he was asleep and Larissa was asleep, and I took a picture of them. And it was just like, I remember just laying there thinking like, oh my god, like this really happened. Like, this is so crazy. Like, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in life. But I was ready. I was ready to take on parenthood. Growing up, I had a great dad and great mom, so I always loved the parenting roles that they had. And whenever my niece was born, I loved taking care of her. I loved, you know, being there for her as a baby, and, you know, just watching her. I just love babies. I always love kids. And I remember in high school, I would always say, even if I become a teen dad, like, I wouldn't mind. But I mean, I'm glad that wouldn't happen in high school. It happened after high school. But I think with having Ivy, it taught, like, literally having him that day, it taught me not to ever be afraid to jump into anything, because if you're always afraid to do it, you're never gonna want to do it. And I think if we would have known about the pregnancy, the full 9 months, I would have been like panicking the whole like 9 months, like, how are we gonna do it, like with money, with, you know, buying stuff here and there. Like, I would feel so much stress. But with having him the day of, it was just crazy, and I really preferred it that way, the first birth like that. Her cousin Nick and his wife Jen, they literally went out of their way, and I have to give them a big shout out because they went out of their way and bought us a pack and play that matched with a stroller and a car seat. And guys, those things are expensive. They're probably like $200 for the pack and play and $300 for the car seat and stroller. That's a combo. So they bought us that because we needed that obviously to leave the hospital with the car seat. And so the second day they told us that they bought us one, so it was at our house. So I had to come back, set it up. I set it up in our room, and then I put the car seat in my car. And then I think I went to Target with my family, and I met up with them there. We got some clothes, even though we already had so much clothes. And then my parents showed up later on with some Harley Davidson clothes, and people were just still coming by, meeting the baby. And it was just a busy day. That was a Saturday? No.
That was a Friday.
That was a Friday. When did we leave? We left Sunday.
We were there
Sunday
for
morning.
4 days. We were there for 4 days.
Yeah, we were there for like 4 days. During all those days, we were doing a lot of paperwork. We were doing paperwork for Ivy, her paperwork. She had to get on Medicaid. We had to approve so everything could get paid for, which everything did. Like, literally everything worked out in God's plan. Like we didn't have to pay for anything, which we're grateful for. We got put on WIC, so we had to pay for the milk, which the hospital provided. They provided us with some milk and some diapers. Released Sunday morning, and I remember we dressed him up. And guys, every time we think about this, we didn't put pants on him. Like, I don't know why we didn't put pants on him, but we put him in his car seat.
We put socks on him.
He was wearing a onesie, a gray onesie,
gray and white,
a beanie, and then he was wearing some Ninja Turtle socks. He wasn't wearing any pants.
He was wearing a beanie.
Yes, he was.
Oh, his hospital beanie.
Yeah, he was wearing his hospital beanie. And he was little and scrawny in his car seat, and he wasn't wearing pants, and I don't know why we didn't put pants in. And I remember I brought my car around, they brought us out with the baby, we put him in, and then we went home.
Wild. It was something I will never forget. Something that we will never forget. Because I know it was like hard on your dad too, that he had to do, you know, he had to take care of not only you but me. Because I was sick. You know, your dad had to change your diapers and everything. He had to deal with me throwing up and cleaning out my little bowl of throw up, and he didn't even complain. So Dad was awesome through the whole, you know, process. He was, you know, there. He did so much for me and you, and it's something I would never, you know, be able to thank him enough for.
Now you're probably wondering the big question, did we really know we were pregnant? That's like the most common question we always get, and people always ask us like, you must have known. Did you really not know? How did you not know? Honestly, here's the tea.
They asked me like, did you feel him, or did you feel him move? I mean, I didn't feel anything. I think it was because he was more towards my back. That's probably why I was, you know, having back labor. But I will never know. I will never know.
So here's the tea that everyone's probably wondering. I knew. I mean, to me, I knew because of signs. Like, I felt it in a way. It started around spring break. Whenever we met up with friends to go to Six Flags. Now guys, keep in mind, we didn't know we were pregnant, so Larissa was doing anything and everything and not obviously aware that she was pregnant, that she couldn't do things. So we were getting on roller coasters, we were going to concerts, we were going on road trips, we were doing like crazy stuff. We met up with friends at Six Flags, and I remember my friend was like, is she pregnant? I was like, no. And then she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, well, she kind of looks like she's pregnant. And I was like, and to me, I was like, oh, that's kind of rude, you know, to say. Like, oh yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like she is, but I was like, she's not. I was like, she's really taking the test.
I would get a shot, and every time I would go get my birth control shot, they would make me take a pregnancy test, you know, just to make sure that way they didn't give me, you know, the shot if I was pregnant.
Noticing, you know, Larissa was looking different. I was like, you know, I remember telling her too, I was like, you know, I was like trying not to be rude, because I mean, how do you tell your girlfriend, you know, that she's gaining weight? And I was like, you know, you're gaining weight. I was like, something's up. I was like, do you think you're pregnant? She's like, no. She was like, I already took a test and it was negative. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right. So then it was always in my mind, like, what if she is pregnant? Like, you know, we need to address it now and, you know, see a doctor. So then I remember texting her and I was like, hey, I was like, she was at school and I was like, I think you need to take another pregnancy test.
I took a test at school because he had texted me and told me, you know, it was kind of out of nowhere too, that he told me I needed to take a test. And so I took one and it came out negative. And
it was already summertime. And I remember we went to Six Flags with my mom and my niece, and they're still wearing a bathing suit. And by then,
it was a two-piece.
It was a two-piece. So by then, you could start noticing. I've never seen her stomach, because to me, well, she would always wear big shirts. Like, it was a bit, like, not big shirts, but blouses, and like they would cover her stomach. So I mean, it was like not
flowy blouses.
Flowy blouses. So it's like nothing I could really see her stomach and be like, yeah, you're pregnant. Like, that's a belly. But whatever, she was wearing her bathing suit, and I was like, and it wasn't a bump, it was just like, I don't know how to explain it, like, it was just hard, like a pregnancy hard. Like, you know, when, like now with her bump, like, you feel it. That's exactly how it felt whenever we would cuddle, and I'd be like, okay, like, this isn't normal, like, your stomach's hard. And I remember we were cuddling one time, I even told her too, I was like, your stomach's hard. I was like, you know, like, what's up with that? And but my mom took the picture, and we always look back at the picture, because in that picture she was about 5 months pregnant. She didn't have a bump, but you can tell, like, it wasn't like that. It was hard. And she was having some bleeding, and I looked up bleeding and stomach hard, not pregnant. And some things that were coming out was ovarian cancer, ovarian cyst, and stuff with her ovaries. So I was like, that really scared me. So I was like, you know what, like this is what I'm reading online. You need to go see a doctor, you know, see what's going on. So that's when she went to go see the doctor. So then she got work done, and then she got a paper in the mail.
Just confirmed that I did have, you know, an ovarian cyst, and telling me everything basically that the doctor had told me at the doctor's office, but they just sent it in the mail.
Dang, we've been filming this video for about an hour, so this video is gonna be pretty long. So once we found out about the cyst, I was like, okay, like that makes everything make sense to me. So she's not pregnant, and then boom, like a month later, Ivy is born, and I was like, oh my god, like.
And keep in mind, they also told me that I couldn't, there was a possibility that I couldn't have kids.
Yeah.
Because of it. Like, it would be difficult for me to have kids.
Yeah.
Because of it.
And obviously that clinic sucks because they didn't find a baby. And that's why she never goes back to that clinic. So that's all for the video. That is Ivy's birth story. That is our answers to some questions. If you have any other questions, comment down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And Ivy, if you have any other questions, ask us. Hope you're watching this video. The baby number 2 on the way. We find out the gender next week. I'm not going. Where are you going? Do y'all hear him? He said, Dada, come on. Oh my god. So guys, it is 2:30 in the morning. Ivy wants to go to bed. He wants me to go to bed with him. But if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Sorry this video took so long to take and to be posted, but it's finally here. Hope it answers most of y'all's questions. But if y'all have any other questions, like I said, comment down below. And next week we'll be finding out the gender, hopefully, if the baby wants to show. And we'll see you in the next video.